So I'd love to hear everyone's secret to a long-lasting relationship, because in a recent YouTube video, Russell Brand says it's all about keeping things open and honest. So Paul, you've been married a long time. Tell us, what's the secret?
Well, first of all, today is my 26th wedding anniversary. So there you go.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you so much. But you know what it is? I find that as the years go on, the biggest thing you have to do, you have to embrace the imperfections. You have to embrace the flaws, because we all have them. And as we get older, things change. But if you're in a truly mature, committed relationship, you don't look at those things and go like, oh, I can't take that anymore. Or you watch, each of us watches each other getting older and goes like, oh, you're not who you used to be. If you really love somebody, you look at them, you see the person that they were when you first met them, but then you also look at the person they are now, and you should love both parts of that, really. And it's just embracing that and not, just not being so hard on each other, because we've made the commitment and we're together and we love each other, and that should always outweigh whatever inconvenience or annoyance that comes up, because we're all annoying at the end of the day, right?
It's totally true, Paul. I think I agree with Russell Brand in the sense that he suggested that therapy and good communication are essential. They've been essentials for my relationship, which is going on 20 years now too. But I think also another piece of advice I would say is try new things. Also, maybe Paul, like what you're talking about, it's kind of like lower your expectations. That doesn't mean that you should expect nothing from your partner ever, but assuming you chose well, you like them, you get along, maybe you don't expect things from your friends. You take them as they come. And I think we should kind of apply a similar mentality. My final piece of advice would be to keep your own friends and keep your own bank account. That's all.
I want to go back to Russell Brand, because great, give your advice, but here's the man who ended his first marriage with Katy Perry via text message. So I don't know how great his advice is going to be. And speaking of advice, I'm never going to give marriage advice. I can talk about my marriage, and I'm happy to talk about it in a second, but my marriage is so unique because what I need out of a relationship and what Jacek needs out of a relationship is not ever going to be what all of you need. It's totally different. Cynthia, you might look at my marriage and say, you wouldn't be able to function like that. And I might say the same for you. So I don't want to give advice, but so if I want to talk about my marriage, I'm celebrating my 19th wedding anniversary in November. One of the reasons it works is because we aren't actually sweet with each other. We're brutally honest. A few years ago, we had a rough spot, and I said to Jacek, man, you are so boring. You keep talking about the things only you care about. You're not bringing anything interesting to the table. And if you want to keep working, you have to be more interesting to me. I need to be interested in you. And that's a tough conversation, but it's one we had to have because I didn't want to get bored of him. So that might sound harsh for other people, so don't take my advice. It just worked for me.
Well, Lainey, I like that. I get being honest, but I do keep some things from Simon. I don't think he needs to know that last night I dreamt that out of a crowded room of models and actresses, Tom Cruise chose me to be his next partner. And yes, we did kiss, and yes, it was incredibly passionate, but Simon doesn't need to know that. I do think that the secret to our 16-year relationship is, to be honest, it's humor, and it's usually him using humor. Most of our fights, and we do have fights, we end up laughing about it. Not all the time, right after the fight. Sometimes it takes a little time, but eventually we find the humor in it, and it's usually chalked up to human frailty, which is what you were talking about, Paul, the idea that human flaws, we're all flawed, and at the end of the day, you gotta have maybe a little bit of a giggle with some time between, maybe.
I feel like the longer you're together, the more you need alone time. Esther Perel, she is the famed couples therapist, and she says that elusive thing called desire, that we lose it over time because our lives become so enmeshed, and you eventually start to know everything about your partner. To your point, Lainey, that the idea of mystery and something interesting and intriguing to discover over time disappears because you know every move of your partner. So in my relationship, it's Alone time. We just celebrated our 12-year wedding anniversary at the beginning of this month. And, you guys know this, during pandemic, my husband Ryan has been busier than ever. So at this rate, we'll probably have quintuplets next year sometime. Yeah, something like that.
Nice.
Okay, guys, listen, Paul, we cannot. Yeah. And that's going to be misquoted as Melissa Grelo is pregnant. For the record, I'm not. I don't see my husband, so I can't get pregnant. Okay, everyone noted that. There it is.